Scott here in Cape Cod with one of my all-time favorite people. Two things great happened today. Number one, I made it to Cape Cod for the first time. And number two, I made it to interview in person one of our treasures in the field of theatrics. Everything from Make Room for Daddy to Match Game to the voice of Ursula in The Little Mermaid, which kids are still getting a kick out of at Disney today, on DVD, on VHS, and everywhere in between. She is the most gracious woman to let us come into her home here and knock everything around a little bit.
Make your own studio.
Just make our own studio right here. The beautiful, legendary, Emmy Award-winning Pat Carroll. Pat, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How's your good self?
Oh, doing very well. Pat, the first thing I have to say, I didn't say it when we came in. You just had a birthday, turned 90.
Yes, I did.
You don't look 70.
Oh, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Because good health does that. Nothing else. No makeup. As you see, I don't wear makeup. Yeah. Just good health, and you look the age you are, because you can't lie with nature. You know, you are what you are. You are how healthy you are. So just get healthy if you aren't healthy.
Do you have any secrets?
No, I have no secrets about anything. But I try to get enough rest. I think rest is very important, particularly as you get older. You have plenty of energy when you're young to make up in deficit for a lot of things. But I think your good health is the most important thing for everything you do in your life anyway. And starting when you're young and you always are out being active, up until my age, 90. I'm not out there being that active anymore. I don't play tennis anymore. But if you try to eat the right things for yourself, get enough rest. We keep forgetting that rest is very important. The human body needs it. You know, we're breathing and walking and running or doing whatever we're doing. We're using our bodies. Be good to them. Take care of them. Give them rest. Feed them nicely and well. And you'll get a good return. It's like a good car. As much as you put into it is what you'll get out of it. Same way with our bodies, you know.
In a typical night, Pat, a typical 24-hour-a-day period, how much sleep do you get? What do you recommend?
I get definitely at least 9 hours. As I get older, I take a little longer to get out of bed, which I think is a very good proposition for anybody. But I think take enough rest for yourself, and that depends on the person. I don't think you can make rules. I think a basic 8 hours is good for all of us, but do whatever you need to keep yourself rested and healthy and raring to go.
At this point in your life, is there anything you still want to do?
Oh, golly, the list is so long I can't even begin. Oh, there's so many things I want to do. I can't travel physically as much as I used to, which is sad to me because there's still so many places I want to go and see that might be out of the way and would take time. But I'm just not going to be able to do that, and that's too bad. But that's the way it is. You can't do everything you want to do in life. Do as much as you can, though. Don't lay off because you say, oh, well, I'll get around to that. No, you won't. Do it now. Do it now.
You know, something surprised me, Pat. When we came into your home today, which is a beautiful home here in Cape Cod, nothing, as I look around right now, in here says actress. You know, some people have their awards up and some...
Oh, well, go into my office.
Oh, it's another room. It's in there.
It's in the office where it belongs. That's my profession.
Yes.
It's not a hobby. You know, so, no, that awards and some pictures, I don't have a lot of pictures up there. There are books for that. I don't have to have them on the wall. I know who I am.
And the world does.
I don't know about that. But I am very careful because when my grandkids are here, this is not a studio. This is not a work. This is my home. And I don't want too much theatricality.
Do your grandkids, though, know that you are Emmy Award winner, Pat Carroll, Disney star?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the mother has told them. They know I'm an actress. I don't know what they know about that, though, and I don't question them because it's of no interest to me what those darling kids know about my work. If they're interested, they ask me questions and I give them answers, but I'm their grandmother. I'm not their actress.
What kind of grandmother is Pat Carroll?
Well, I think we laugh a lot because I enjoy laughter with children, and particularly my own grandchildren. I enjoy that tremendously. I think we do things that grandmas do with grandkids. You know, we go places, we eat a lot, we love food, which I think is a major thing with grandkids, and I take them different places to eat food so that they'll learn different foods. And I think it's good. Expose children to different foods. Number one, they get an understanding that different foods come with different backgrounds, nationalities, and the rest of it. Different mamas cook different things in a different way. I think it's good for children to go around and eat at their friends' homes because they get the idea that this mama doesn't cook the way my mama does, and that's the excitement of it. Every mama cooks a different way and different things.
What is Pat Carroll? This will be real subversive. What is Pat Carroll's favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Really?
I should be Italian. I have loved spaghetti since I was a kid. I will eat spaghetti in any fashion. I don't care. I just love spaghetti. To me, it's a necessary food. It gives me energy. If I'm down in energy, I'll go have some spaghetti. And then I'm, whoop, look out for me, vroom, vroom, vroom.
Were you much of a cook in your life?
I don't cook.
No, not at all.
At all. I would be a dreadful cook. My daughter is a brilliant cook. My older daughter is a brilliant cook. My younger daughter is like me. She doesn't cook at all. Cooking to her is opening cereal. You know that. That's about it. But I'll tell you, I wish I were a good cook because I think it is the pith of hospitality. And Italian families so know that. You walk into an Italian family and food is the graciousness of the home. And I've never eaten as well in my life in any restaurant in any major city of the world as I've eaten in Italian homes. They just love food. They know how to cook it. They know how to prepare it. They know how to present it so that it's always more appetizing. It's wonderful. I love Italian food, all of it.
And Italian food, strangely enough, when you look at Italian families, there is a connection, an absolute connection.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And going into an Italian home is walking into food. I mean, you don't leave an Italian home until you've eaten. And it's always wonderful. I don't care which mama prepares it. They all know how to cook brilliantly. They all present it gorgeously and lovingly. There is kind of an honoring of food in Italian families that I love. I mean, that's what keeps us all going. I don't care whether you're Italian or Irish or what you are. Food is what keeps you going. And in an Italian family, the respect for food is so omnipresent. And from every member of the family, whether they cook it or not, there is the admiration of it as well, which is, I think, very important. Let the cooks of the family know when you go to visit somebody how much you've enjoyed their efforts in the culinary arts. Don't ignore the food that's placed before you as a guest. Compliment the cook. Let people know how they are enjoying themselves. You know, I mean, that's very simple and very old-fashioned, but it's good rule.
It absolutely is. And there are so many arts. What I have found over the years, whether it's acting or painting or cooking or whatever you're doing, you can make an art form out of it. It's
Oh,
art.
absolutely. Absolutely. And look at the number of women, mamas, grandmas, who have made an art form all their lives of cooking for their families and guests. And you can tell that they love doing it by almost their bodies. There is a reading in the bodies of the joy that they take in this effort they make to feed family and guests. And there is a privilege in it, and there is an honor, and it shows. Particularly in Italian families, they know how to do it.
You know, Pat, it's interesting. We started with your acting career here. When you were a little girl growing up, what was the first inclination you had that you wanted to be an actress? You wanted to be on stage?
I think when I was 12, I suddenly said, I want to be an actress. And I didn't voice it to my mother. Although I did later, I was crying one day and she said, Patsy, what are you crying about? And I said, I want to go on the stage. She said, bring me the phone book. I brought her the phone book and she thumbed to the Catholic Actors Guild. She looked up first Catholic and then looked up, she knew there was Catholic Actors Guild. And she called them and said, I have a stage-stuck daughter here. I'm going to send her over, do something with her. And by golly, they did. They taught me everything. God bless them. They were well organized. They were a good theatrical group. And I was so grateful. My dad drove me over, and I went in, and I started with their junior company. And it was wonderful. And those groups who do that for young people are to be blessed, because it's the reality of something that's just a dream to children at that age. And these groups, I don't care where they are, who they are, what goes on, but they cater to those children and the practicalities of doing theatrical production. And it's the same whether it's a small theater in New Jersey or a major professional house in New York, the same work is being done. Kids just have to learn it where they are. That's all.
This is something I don't think I've ever asked somebody who has the ability and has went as far as you have. If you're working that small theater, let's say in Vermont, and you're donating your time, it's the community
That's right.
playhouse.
That's right.
What is the difference between what they're doing, which is where you would have started, and Pat Carroll's name up in lights, in the TV guide, in the credits on a Disney movie? What's the difference?
Well, number one, you're dealing not in the theater, but in film.
Right.
There is that kind of difference. But basically, the only difference is you're in a different locale. The work itself is the same no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, whether it's technical or whether it's acting. Because it takes an awful lot of people beside actors to do anything theatrical. And those people have to be taken into consideration. They are part of the work, part of the team.
If you had not gotten to the point where you could make a living acting, would you still have done it?
Of course. Of course. I don't know in what way, but I would not have stopped my needing to do that kind of work. And it is an absolute need. My mother and father were stage struck, and they worked in little theater, and they loved it. And my dad was so thrilled when I became a professional actress. Oh, my Lord. It was his dream in my lifetime. But his excitement and his thrill was a replacement for his own ambitions, and I always appreciated that. And I invested my dad in everything I did theatrical. I mean, I'd have him come and be there and watch me do it so that he felt close to it. And I think that was very much of a help for him. Yes, he was thrilled that his daughter was now a professional actress, but that doesn't replace your own yearning. You know, if you've wanted to do it, somebody else, no matter how close they are to you, they're doing it. It's not going to replace your own desires and ambitions and dreams. Just not going to do it.
What do the awards mean? Because winning an Emmy Award is still a very high honor.
It's a big honor.
And you
big honor.
won it when there were gigantic talents nominated.
Yeah. What do they mean? Awards of all sorts mean exactly what they're supposed to mean. They're honors. They are compliments. They have, most of them, a history to them. And certainly have the names of many people of extraordinary gifts and talents. And so to receive one is quite an honor. And you should feel honored, because you've got all that history going into something that you've been given as an award. It's not to get cocky about, but it certainly is to be honored and to remember all those people who've gone before you.
Tell me about being nominated, going that night. Did you think you were going to win? Did you write a speech? How did you approach that?
I was knocked out, number one, by being nominated. But that night I went with my husband, and in the car he said, "Are you nervous?" And I said, "Yeah, to a degree, but I'm excited more than anything. I'm not as nervous as I am excited." And he said, "What if you win?" And I said, "Oh, I'll be thrilled." But I can't count on that, so I'm just thrilled to be going there and to have been nominated and to have somebody said, "Hey, we think you are worthy of this. Whether you get it or not, that's something else." So when I got it, driving home in the car with the award, he said, "Well, how do you feel now?" And I said, "Exhausted." And I was. But how wonderful to have awards, as they do in sports. I mean, it's no different. Look at those athletes of every kind of physicality in the world and competition. And the same is true theatrically of actors. They're competing with other human beings who do the same work. That's always scary and exciting. And if you win something, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
That moment when you're in that arena and they call your name and you don't know it's coming, what is that moment like?
You want to cry or throw up. You don't know. And that's true. That is true. But of course, it's exciting as all get out, and it's wonderful. But it doesn't happen all the time, you know. So just be grateful for those moments when you've had that kind of special joy.
Where do you keep your Emmy?
I think it's in the other room.
Oh, it's here. It's here. You keep it right here.
Oh, yeah. Go look in the other room, my office over there, and it's in there.
Oh, it's the Emmy's in there. You keep it right in there.
Oh, I keep it right there. And my grandkids know where it is, and they always come and visit it. They aren't visiting me. They're visiting the Emmy.
She's a nice lady, too. She's a good lady.
But it's always an honor, and I make sure it's dusted and kept in good shape. It won't have dust on it, and it won't be in confusion and mess. It has a place of honor, because that's what it's supposed to be.
You have family members who have went into the acting business and become successful at it.
Yes, indeed.
Did you encourage, discourage, stay out of it? How did you approach that?
When my youngest daughter, who is really the only one, my elder daughter, "No thank you," she said. But my youngest daughter said, "Mama, may I take you out for breakfast?" I said, "There's a reason, isn't there?" She said, "Yes, there is." So I said, "Of course you may." So she took me out for breakfast, and I said, "Now, what is your reason?" She said, "I wanted to ask you if it would be all right if I came into the acting business." I said, "Darling, it's a wide-open profession. You are more than welcome to come into it. I have no refusal rights. Even if I didn't want you to do it, I wouldn't stop you from doing it if it's something you really want to pursue." And she's been a working actress for many years now, and she's doggone good. Mm-hmm. She's a wonderful comedian, but she's a brilliant dramatic actress.
Did you give advice?
I'm sure I did, but I kept saying to myself, butt your nose out. This is a business where you have to learn on your own. I don't care what kind of advice people give you. Every actor's experience in this profession is unique to them, has nothing to do with you. So the only advice you can give them is keep your nose to the grindstone. Make sure the check's passed, you know. But I gave very little advice, except obviously you want to do it. And wanting to do it is the major thing. You learn everything else as you do it.
Do you ever see when you're watching her things you did that she maybe picked up by just seeing Mom, who was an actress?
By osmosis.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You do.
And it tickles me because her comedy in particular, I think she watched my comedy to mimic it. The drama comes right out of her. I can't even compete with her as a serious actress. She's marvelous. But in comedy, I see a little bit of me, only because she was very young and she was a kid. Of course, she was going to mimic Mama, you know. But I'm very proud of her, and I'm very proud for another reason. She has a reputation, and I think this is the reason that many directors hire her. A set that she works on is never an unhappy set. Mm. And I think that is a tremendous compliment, because actors can be a real pain in the neck. Mm. And if you allow an actor or an actress to go a little wild in their behavior as a human being on a set, you can be in trouble. She has never been that, because she learned from me, you behave yourself on a set because you're not the only actor there. Mm. A lot of actors are there, and you're part of a group, so don't you get too high and mighty. Mm. And she never has. She's wonderful, and many directors hire her because she brings lightness to a set. She brings humor to a set. She brings good feeling, because we're all still human beings. Come on. This is not a torture chamber we're working in. Relax, everybody. This is the work you love to do. Relax and do it. I admire my daughter in this profession highly, and she knows it because I've told her how much I admire her. And she does good, wonderful work, both comedically and dramatically. In fact, I think she's almost a better dramatic actress than she is a comedian.
What did you consider yourself? Not what you did the
Lucky.
most of. There you go. Talented. Talented.
I don't know about
Talented.
that. All you do is do the work, and you leave it up to other people to say whether you're talented or not. You don't say that. All you do is you know you love the work, and you do it. Now, how people receive that is up to them.
I don't know if I've ever relayed this story, and I'm going to do it now because it's of what you just said. Years ago, when I was a child, I was watching Designing Women. Now, people will remember the great show with Dixie Carter and Annie Potts.
That's right. Good cast.
Very good cast. A lot of Emmys on that show.
Right.
There was an episode late in the run where Julia, I remember this, I'm going to tell you why I remember this so well. Julia, who was Dixie Carter's character,
right,
had an old school marm who came to stay with her because her husband had died.
Right.
And wouldn't leave the house.
Right.
Mrs. Beecham. I remembered her name. Mrs. Beecham.
I
no
didn't
notes.
even remember it.
No notes. Mrs. Beecham. Mrs. Beecham is the meanest, nastiest woman you'll ever want to meet. Mrs. Beecham is also the funniest woman and it's Pat Carroll, by the way, if you hadn't guessed that. And I, at that point, I'm Little Mermaid, I'm Make Room for Daddy, I know very well who you are, but I didn't see you in that role.
Of course
It's
not.
hilarious.
Isn't it wonderful?
Oh.
You know, the mean roles are the best roles. And any actress worth her salt is going to fight to play the villainess or the mean woman because they're the meat. Mm. That's where you get the stuff going. Oh, it's wonderful to be sweet and darling and adorable in the ingenue. Good luck to you. But be mean, and you got it made, and you're going to have a ball doing it.
The three roles that I remember Pat Carroll in the most are that one, of course Ursula, and Mary Tyler Moore's roommate.
Oh, wasn't she dreadful?
All mean ladies.
Yeah.
But
and
you're not.
You know, I got hate mail for the Mary show because how dare you treat our Mary that way? I got hate mail.
Oh, my gosh.
And I told Mary, and I showed her the letters. And I said, I'm not working your show again. Isn't that funny?
Well, you know, it's true because when you are mean on camera and believably mean, you're that person.
That's right.
You're that person. When you came into The Little Mermaid, 1989, everybody's a voice actor now. Not so then. Not so. How did that come to you, Ursula?
What a good question. I don't remember. I just know they asked me to do it, and I thought, oh, I love this. I auditioned for it at Disney. You always do. God bless them. They're one of the best theatrical companies in our country to work for. And I'm not saying that to get more work, but they really are. I mean, they're a marvelous theatrical company. Very classy. Would you expect that? I forgot how I was called. I was called to audition, which I was delighted to do, which we always are for Disney. And I got it. And I think because I was the loudest. But oh, what a wonderful role. Oh my goodness, wasn't that fun?
When you got that role, because it's a character, it's
Yes,
not a
it is.
person.
No.
How did you see Ursula?
I saw Ursula the way she was drawn, and I tried to put a voice in her, and the voice that I came up with was the one that I thought belonged to her.
That is not the voice you're talking. What is Ursula's voice? When you record something as Ursula, what do you do different?
Ursula's more than that. Her voice is deeper. She's more forceful, she's pushier, she's meaner, and she's the best of everything.
You know, Pat, you talked about something there that I think is very important. You talked about being loud. These villainous characters are loud.
Yeah.
Why is that important from an actor's standpoint?
It's easier to be mean if you're loud. The energy that loudness permits you seems to help you be mean, you know, and loudness seems to be for characters who are not sweet little dimpled ingenues, kind of the apex of the mean characters. I love mean characters. I'd rather play a mean character than a nice character because they have more crunch. Sweet characters, good luck to you. But mean characters have something to grow on. They give you an opportunity to find edges in the character, no matter who the character is. I've always enjoyed playing villains and mean people more than nice people because there's more to grab onto. There's more to give you a chance as an actress to find things about that character that make sense vocally.
When you're sitting here, beautiful home in Cape Cod, do you ever think, boy, I want to be in that movie. I want to be in that show. I want to see a script. I want to do something in my profession that I've done so well.
Oh, sure. I think every actor or actress, feels that way no matter where they are. I'm fortunate enough to be on Cape Cod. But I think always as an actor, you want to be challenged by a character. And you want to be challenged by work. Because that tests whether you know what you are doing. It really is that simple. And I have been very fortunate, thank you, dear Lord, over a lifetime of work in this profession, of being challenged. And I appreciate that, and I wish it to every actor. Because if we don't have challenge, we can't meet it. So we aren't tested. And I think actors need to be tested.
I was just thinking, Disney roles, there's always great music in Disney movies. You had a great song, Poor Unfortunate Soul.
Poor unfortunate souls! I don't know anything more. Got the music right there and the words and everything, but it's a good song.
It is a good song.
Oh, it's a lovely song. And wonderful because it's her character. You can sing her character. So, I adored doing it. I adored doing it.
Did you sing before that?
Did I sing what?
Were you a singer? Did you ever do roles that had singing?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, God. I didn't mean to use your name. But, of course, I had done musicals all my life in the theater. I sang in saloons. I worked in saloons as a comedian, and I sang songs. I had a whole repertoire of fancy songs that people used to request.
What is a song people requested, Pat? What is something...
Oh, you're making me go back years now into the saloons. What did I sing in saloons? They were all contemporary, so they were known songs. I did special material songs, too, but I did known songs, and I can't remember any of them now. Listen, I'm lucky I remember my own name. Are you kidding? But, singing was part... in those days, as an actor, you sang because you expected to sing. It didn't mean that you had to show your training to people to prove you could sing. You weren't sure you could anyway. But you sang, and I always sang theatrically. So when I was asked to sing for Disney, I, of course, had to audition, but I did it, and it didn't upset me or frighten me because I'd done it. It was something that I'd done constantly, so it was part of the work you do.
What is it... We in broadcasting don't get a lot of this, but what is it like to watch yourself as somebody else on television in a movie?
Very critical.
Really?
Very critical. And in fact, I would love to do sessions all over again because you keep seeing all the things you'd like to correct and do better. But I love to see the work that I've done. Because I'm constantly judging it, and I'm constantly saying, "Don't do that again. Don't ever do this and do this and do this." So I'm constantly trying to better myself, and I think that's wonderful. Aren't actors lucky that they have that chance to better themselves? Wouldn't we love to have that in life, for heaven's sakes? Oh, wow! But I'm always finding this profession and this work challenging. It's never dull to me. It's never boring. It's never non-challenging. And so every time I do something, I'm learning, as you do.
You do.
And it's a wonderful experience, and I wish every young performer the opportunity to work as much as possible because you keep learning.
I see a lot of people who are in home movies or things of that nature who are in radio. They can't listen to themselves. They don't like the sound of their voice. They don't want to watch themselves. Do you have any trouble watching yourself?
None at all. I want to look at what I've done, and I always know where I could improve it. But no, I have no problem at all. I adore it because I want to find out what I could make better. And isn't that the way in life? Wouldn't we like to make everything we do in life better?
If you could write it today, what would you like to play? What would you like to do today? If you could go tonight and film it or get on a stage, what would you want to do?
I have the whole world, don't I?
You do. Anything.
I've got about 14. I don't know that I could pick one. But isn't it funny? Most of the roles I want to play are male roles because they're the best.
Hmm.
They are the best.
Really?
Yeah. So I would consequently want to do male roles. And that wouldn't bother me. I would do them because if they're that good to play, it doesn't make any difference whether a man or a woman plays them. The character will stand up, and I mean that. And what is the male character I played? Oh golly, I don't remember now. But I played one of Shakespeare's male characters, and it really doesn't make any difference whether a man or a woman plays it. As a character, it's written brilliantly well, and as a woman, all you have to do is just say the words. Say the words. Come on, baby. We'll say, oh, yeah, that's a man. Because the words are male words. And we're not going to think it's a lady. But it's interesting. And I think every actress should play a male role at least once. I think it's like wearing other people's shoes. And it is. It is. Oh, there's so much fun to be had in the acting profession. You know, just something like that, playing a role that is not your sex. That's so interesting. And do you know the hardest thing for me when I played a male role in Shakespeare? Learning to swagger. Swaggering is totally male. It's physically male. It's attitudinally male. Women can't swagger. They can't do it physically, but they can't do it attitudinally either.
If you had not had acting, what would you have done?
Medicine.
Really?
Yeah.
Any particular kind?
Pediatrics. I was interested in that when I was 13. That's why I took 4 years of Latin to go to medical school. And I really was interested in pediatrics. It was dealing with children, and I loved children. And I felt that to be a doctor for children was a very important thing, both emotionally and because of medicine itself. But emotionally, I think women are better with children, even in medicine. Isn't that dreadful? I apologize. But I don't, because I mean it. There's just something about the way women handle children, even physically. And men don't mean to be rough with kids, and they aren't rough with them on purpose, but they are men with children. And women are women with children.
When you got a role, when the script showed up, is there ever something you would not do on camera, on tape, on
Yes,
stage?
swearing.
Swearing?
Yes. I'm sorry. That's not my business. I don't do it in real life. Why should I do it as an actress? Sorry, I don't do that.
Why do you think that's become such a big part of scripts? The shows on HBO all are profane-laced,
Yes.
and they win all the awards now.
Yeah.
What is the correlation there?
People accept it, and they shouldn't. Has nothing to do with what's going on. It's overlay. It's social overlay, and I find it sophomoric. And I mean that word, sophomoric. You remember how big you felt when you were 16 and you swore?
You get it off your chest. That's right.
That's right.
You get it off.
That's right.
You know, it is language that makes us.
Yes, or it should.
You speak so well, so clearly, great diction. Was that important to you?
Yes, it was very, because when I was 12 and I got the bug to be an actress, I knew that language was absolutely important. And I had great respect for the English language, and I became even more respectful, and I became even more ear-wise. I listened more to people who spoke, and people I thought spoke gorgeously, diction and the rest of it. And I think we don't have enough respect for our language. It's a magnificent language, magnificent. There isn't a thought or an emotion that you have that can't be expressed in English. I wish I could speak French, but I don't, so I'd have to speak English. But we do have a magnificent language, and I don't think we treat it with enough respect, either in writing or in speaking.
Did you ever take a role and once it was over, say, I wish I hadn't done that?
I know I did once, and I have forgotten. I made myself forget because I was ashamed that I did it. So I made myself forget. But I look back on it very shortly after I did it, and I thought, you knew that you shouldn't do that it was not going to be good for you. For you. Didn't have to do with anybody else, with audience members, with production people. You. Why did you do that? I'll never do it again.
To this day, Ursula is on television constantly.
Is it?
Oh, it is. It is. Cartoons. What did that do for you in the last, nearly 30 years now that character's been around?
Are you kidding?
30 years. 2 years, it'll be 30 years.
Oh, my Lord. Well, I love doing it. What a wonderful character. What a simply marvelous character. Also, for the actress, it's vocal utilization with that character. Because look on the page at the way she's drawn. If you're to fill that drawing with a life by a voice, look at how far you have to go. Isn't that marvelous? Did I have fun doing that? You bet your bottom dollar. It was wonderful. And to be able, as a female actor, to use vocal dexterity was marvelous. Marvelous. Because so seldom do we get to do that. Men do, but women don't.
I ask that question because it's interesting to me, because we talked about you just recently celebrating your 90th birthday on the Cinco de Mayo. 28 years ago, Ursula came into people's being. You were 62.
Yeah.
You were at, and there, I do hear actors and actresses talk about, as you get older, roles become less. Certainly not in your case. You were able to take this character and start it at an age when people are retiring.
Yeah. Well, I was not bound to retire then or now or in the future until I'm dead. So I just don't consider things like that. I just know that that character, I had great respect for that character. As an actress, it made vocal demands that I always respect. And I love the character itself. It was voluminous.
Good word. Good word. Absolutely.
And you don't, as an actress, you don't often get a character like that to portray. You don't. I mean, we have women, we have women, we have women. We don't have characters.
No, that's right.
You know?
That's right.
And men get all of that. And I go on the stump. I'm not a feminist in any way, shape, or form, but I do say, you cheat us actresses in this profession by not making the same demands of us that you make of men. And I mean that. Who do you think we are? Do you think we can't do it? Do you think we aren't equipped to accept a challenge? Try us. Oh, yeah. That's the only place where I pull feminism, because I think many times they don't test women theatrically enough. And I think that's unfair.
I think you're right.
Yep.
And I was just thinking to myself, in recent years, because of a campaign by young people, Betty White hosted Saturday Night Live in her late 80s. Would you like to fly out to California, drive into Midtown, do something like Saturday Night?
Of course. I'm up for any challenge at 90.
Well, we'll send this tape to somebody, then We'll get the work done because we want to see you.
All right. Yeah, it's okay by me because I'll do anything that isn't distasteful.
If they would put you on Saturday Night Live, what would that mean to you at this point?
Not a damn thing.
Not a thing. There you go.
You see, that's not my cultural background now, is
Right.
it? I'm not the right age.
Well, Betty White did okay.
Yeah, but it's not in my brain.
It's not in your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not in my brain. I would be willing to do anything like that. But I don't wake up in the morning thinking about it. You know what I mean?
What shows do you watch today you like?
What, on television?
Yes, yes.
Very few.
Very few.
Don't let it. Because I may be called on to work all
You, that's exactly right.
I don't really watch that much television. The few shows that I do like, I watch like a 16-year-old, you know. But I'm not a great television person. I never have been, really, I don't think. And yet television has given me so much food for fodder, other than the normal shows that we have audiences to watch. I don't watch those. But television, thank God for it. You know, that box has been such a revolution for us audience members. And I say we aren't grateful enough to it. It has put some things on there that knock my socks off. And I say, God bless those TV producers and directors who make sure that box is used correctly. Because for many people, it's on from early morning until they go to bed at night, and they should have some good stuff to gnaw on.
When you started in television, what's the difference between then and now?
Everything.
Yeah, big change.
Big changes, because you have big changes technologically. You have big changes as far as actors are concerned. You have big changes as far as writing is concerned. It's totally different. It's just a different sea of fish altogether.
I wanted to ask this question when we first started, Pat, because you're having a great life, you're enjoying yourself, you're healthy. What is a day like when you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed? Because people think in a strange way, I think, that actors and actresses and politicians too, who have made a certain level, lead these cocktail parties and big deals. And what does Pat Carroll do on a typical day?
On a typical day, I get up in the morning, 9:30, take a shower, eat breakfast, go to my, what do you call that thing that you write on?
Computer.
Computer. I go to my computer. First, you have to know its name before you can use it. And then I have lunch. And then usually in the afternoon, I go out and run errands or do things I'm supposed to do, like shopping or whatever, as everybody else does. And then I come back early evening, supper, television, and bed by usually no later than 11.
When you go out to the store, for
Right.
instance, to run an errand, and somebody recognizes you, what is that like?
Well, it doesn't happen that much around here because I live here.
These are your
everybody-
friends.
Yeah, everybody knows me. I'm Pat. I'm
Yeah,
a neighbor.
yeah.
I'm not working in television. I'm not an actress. I'm your neighbor. When I go elsewhere and they recognize me, it's very dear. This morning, I was at the market and a lady came up to me and she put her hand on my arm and she said, I just want to thank you for the years of laughter you gave me on television. And I said, aren't you nice? You've just made my day. Well, I thought she was going to cry. And I said, you know, you have to know that when you say that to a theatrical person, you are backing up the years that they have worked. That's what you're doing. And it's very pleasing, and I thank you. May your day be blessed.
It's interesting to me, I think, because of television, that you do get a sort of immortality. We talked earlier on about dear Dixie Carter, who died too young.
Way too young. Way too young.
But you could watch her tonight if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Doing what she loved. Same for you.
Absolutely. I have not changed since I was 12 years old as to what I wanted to do in life. And thank you, dear God, I have been able to do it.
Any regrets?
None. Carte blanche, none.
When you live in a community like this that's away from Los Angeles or New York, when the Playhouse, when the Red Cross, when a school wants somebody to come in and read a story or just do something, do they ask you? Are they, we don't want to bother her?
I have done all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to ask you every year.
That's right.
Even the kids get bored. You know what I mean? But I will do that because I'm part of the community. Like it or not, and I adore it, I live here. I am part of this community. And if I don't say yes to these things, what a jerk I am. Mm. Because I live here. I'm your neighbor. And if your kids want me to do something with them, I do it. Because I'm your neighbor. And theatrical people are crazy. Who the hell do you think you are? You know.
Well, it's interesting, Pat, because it's a weird dichotomy in life, truthfully. Because your neighbor here, your neighbor who lives next door, who isn't maybe not your best friend, but he's your neighbor.
Right.
Now, he could go home tonight and watch you on television.
Yeah.
But there you are. Most people don't have that experience, and there is something about being in that box that changes the dynamic for people. They ask for autographs. They want pictures. It changes it. I don't know why it does.
I don't either, and it's very interesting. And how many people stop you as a performer who appears on television, and they're your neighbor? And it's not the same kind of gab that you get from neighbors usually, you know, because they feel they have to be different. I know I don't have to be different because I'm your neighbor. That's one life. I'm also an actress. That's another life. But the two don't collide with each other. They're coexistent. I am both of those things at the same time.
I'm going to ask you a question. It's a terrible question, but I'm going to ask it. Did the money matter in your career?
Money always matters. Ask anybody who works for money. It always matters. No, strangely enough, money in the theatrical profession always matters, and yet it doesn't. Because you are doing the work you have adored since you were a kid. That is a privilege. Everything about it is more important than the money. And that's baloney because you love the money. Because it buys things that you couldn't ordinarily buy. It puts food on the table. It pays the bills. Blah, blah, blah. Like everybody who works for $1. But I have never, I don't think, I may be putting a halo on my own head. I don't think I've ever made a decision to money instead of to just the thing itself.
Quality. You know, I asked that question because I was reading this morning in the newspaper about how, and not to be political, but how the budget is possibly coming and there are cuts to Medicare and Social Security, and some people solely live on those items.
That's right.
I imagine you've done okay. You have...
I'm not going to starve to death. But
yes,
I'll tell
put
you,
it that
I'm
way.
not working, so I have no income. So I'm living off what I've made in the past, which is, thank you, Lord, just fine. I can have spaghetti instead of soup.
There you go.
You know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any difference. That has nothing to do with my pleasure or joy in doing the work I have always loved doing and will continue to do. Yes, I will get paid for it. I don't do it for nothing. But that's called being a professional.
Mm.
And I feel very fortunate for the years I have spent working professionally in the theatrical profession in this country, the United States of America. I'm very proud to have been a performer here.
Would you do it all over again?
Absolutely.
The same way?
Absolutely.
No changes.
No changes. No changes, because I think I'd be just as stupid the second time around. But that's true. That's true. There would be no changes.
Want to ask just a couple more, and thank you for the time. This has been a tremendous
Oh,
pleasure.
well, I've enjoyed it. Can you tell I like talking?
Well, I love to hear your voice, so it works out okay for both of us.
We're both pleased.
We're both pleased. And I think about this sometime. When we come into your home here, which you have so graciously let us do you think, oh my gosh, because Norton, they don't call me, but nobody's ever said, hey, I don't really know you that well. Can I come into your home and talk about your life with you? Is that different for you? Is that strange? Do you like that?
No, because as an actress, you've done it so much. You've done it so much. And who doesn't love talking about themselves? Huh?
I was told one time, I forget who said it. It might have been Tony Curtis, who says because some people don't like to be interviewed.
No, they don't.
But he said he liked it because he answered questions that he didn't write, and he didn't stand in the shower every morning thinking, why did I take that role? Why did I play it that way?
Yes, questioning your life.
Makes you think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing here as we sum up, I'm going to ask this question and then ask one more, but how do you want to be remembered by the world? Because you will be. You've done roles that are going to be here after everybody in this room is gone.
I think
long
that will
gone.
be Ursula.
I think it will. I think it will. I think it will.
You know, it's the bad characters that get remembered. It's not being nice. It's being mean. It's being horrible. That's how you get remembered.
And you want to be remembered how?
Like Ursula.
Like Ursula.
Because she brings laughter. And that's the most important thing. I tell you, Monsignor Sheen, I used to play tennis with him. What a gentleman. What a brilliant priest. Everything good. And we would talk about the theatrical profession. His best friend was Milton Berle.
Oh.
And he said, you know, God has blessed you people who bring laughter. He said, because laughter is one of God's greatest gifts to humanity. And he said, you don't appreciate it because to you it's a technique. You know how to do it. You can break it down. You know what will bring a laugh and what won't. But he said, you don't know the good you are doing because to bring laughter to this world of ours is a blessing. And you and Milton Berle are blessed. Milton
true.
was one of his best friends.
Oh.
He would travel. He would travel with him because he so admired him. And he said, I feel a better human being when I'm around him.
Mm.
Isn't that a nice thing to say?
What a great thing.
Oh! But anyway, I have been so fortunate in this profession. And when I was 12 years old and I decided I wanted to be an actress, and I thought, how do you do that? I didn't know anything about it.
You know, it dawned on me when you said that, because it probably is true that Ursula will be the character because of its longevity. And from an actress who did Gertrude Stein,
Yeah.
who did Make Room, who won her Emmy for a great television character, Match Game, does it ever bother you that in 50 years, when your obituary runs, it will say the voice of Ursula, Pat Carroll
Won't
goes?
bother me at all. I'll be very pleased.
That's the way you want it.
I'll be very pleased. I love that character. I think she's made people laugh. She's a different character. You can't compare her to anybody else.
No.
So, no, I'm very happy. Remember me as Ursula. I'll be thrilled to death.
That's fine with you.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fine with
great
you.
by me. Great by me. How many times do you get remembered for a character as crazy as Ursula?
That's rare.
You know?
Rare.
You know? So I consider myself quite lucky.
In wrapping up, I want to say this because Pat, as many of you know, has been on the radio with me many times, and has always graciously done it. And I will let you in on a little secret out there, audience, that sometimes somebody, and this is the truth, has canceled, and I will call Pat that morning, and we're going on at noon, and I'll say, Pat, somebody canceled, can you come on? Because Pat can talk about anything, and she's better than the guest who canceled every time.
I hope they aren't listening.
I wish you were on every day and to allow us to come here, because I know it's a pain in the neck for somebody to come into your home and do this.
But it's all right because we've worked together.
But it means the world to me.
Wonderful. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for the compliment.
Because what that gentleman said this morning to you, that lady in the store, that you have given us laughter. You have given me laughter. You've given the world laughter.
Oh, nice.
And in the, I really truly believe this, that our government, and this is not political again, does not fund our theaters like they do in England.
No, they don't.
So a lot of times we don't think of our actors as treasures. Pat Carroll, then, now, and 500 years from now, will be one of our American treasures.
Aren't you an angel? Thank you. That's a lovely compliment.
You're the best. Do you have a line you want to end with, Pat? Do any of those songs come back to you? Any line of any song in the world?
Did you ever go into an Irishman shanty where money is scarce and the whiskey is plenty? A three-legged stool on a table to match in the door of the house, sit shut with a latch. God loves you.
How do you end any better than that? Pat Carroll, once in a lifetime. You can't miss this. Good night, folks. Thank you,
Isn't that
Pat.
a darling
You're
song?
dear.
Oh,
That's
well, thank
beautiful.
you. And you're always wonderful to work with because you ask and you listen.